In tonight's Dateline Defense, the NSA review. The White House has recommended sweeping limits on the government's surveillance programs. How will this change the agency's practices? Joining me tonight for some answers on Capitol Insider is Colonel Cedric Leighton, retired military intelligence officer and president of Cedric Leighton Associates. So, Cedric, the review comes on the heels of a landmark decision. This week, a U.S. district judge said the NSA's collection of domestic phone records is unconstitutional. Now, a panel that reviewed the agency's practices doesn't suggest getting rid of the surveillance program, but they want to make the agency more accountable. They propose moving data collection to private companies, court oversight of all searches, and redefining the NSA's mission to focus solely on foreign intelligence gathering. What's your take on all of this?
Well, certainly the NSA's mission, Morris, is foreign intelligence collection, and refocusing that mission is clearly in the best interest not only of the country but of NSA. So that part is perfectly fine. When it comes to storing data with private companies, they tried that back in 2009, and the basic idea there was that the private companies refused to actually do that. So it should be interesting to see what the negotiations are like between the government and these private companies, such as Verizon, AT&T, and other phone companies, to see if that actually works out.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Why put the onus on private companies? You're in for all sorts of legal problems there.
Absolutely.
The panel also suggested that the next NSA director be a civilian. The agency has a history of military members in the driver's seat. Is this a reflection of possible disappointment with current director, General Keith Alexander?
It could be, but they also have to keep in mind that the structure of the NSA is based in law, and the way this works with General Alexander at the helm is the law specifically states that either the director or the deputy director of NSA must be a high-ranking, minimum 3-star military officer. General Alexander is the first 4-star military officer to hold this position, and it seems as if the White House is going to not only keep the NSA position, the director's position, a military position, but they're also going to keep it combined with U.S. Cyber Command. So I don't think the White House will be adopting that particular recommendation.
All right, let's move on. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un recently had his own uncle and second-in-command executed. Many analysts believe there was some sort of power struggle between the two, and the uncle was viewed favorably by China. Now Kim is once again hosting former U.S. basketball player Dennis Rodman. What do you make of all of this, and should China and the U.S. be concerned?
I think both China and the U.S. need to be concerned, because all of the things that are going on in North Korea really point to some major issues that are internal to that country. Now, it's normal for totalitarian regimes to have problems like that, to have power struggles, and to get rid of the opposition in the manner that Kim Jong-un supposedly did in this case. But China and the United States have to be very careful, because North Korea is a nuclear power, and any time a nuclear weapon is in the possession of somebody like Kim Jong-un, there risks being a greater conflagration and a possible misuse of nuclear power that could possibly affect the region, and that would be detrimental to the interests of not only China and the United States, but Japan and South Korea as well.
All right, before you go, let's talk about Russia. Today, the U.S. announced the delegation for the Sochi 2014 Olympics. While President Obama was noticeably absent, the group does include 2 openly gay athletes. Is the message sending a message to Vladimir Putin? The U.S. sending a message?
Oh, most certainly it is. And in this particular case, not only have President Obama and President Putin not gotten along both privately and publicly, but we also see a very clear indication that the United States wants the Russians to get rid of their law that deals with gays and basically condemns gay relationships as being illegal relationships. So this is a very key signal in this particular case. It is also a furtherance of the diplomatic, I'd say, cold climate that, I wouldn't say Cold War, but cold climate that exists between Russia and the United States at the present time. And what that means is that there could be further snubs then from the Russians toward us. So stand by for more action, I think, in this case.
Plus, I know you're a military and security analyst, but let's talk politics for a second. There's no downside on this for Obama. With plummeting ratings, this has got to help him. It can't hurt him.
That's right, and he's doing this because he can actually not only take the things that have happened with him domestically in terms of the healthcare law and all the implementation of healthcare, and he can, in essence, focus attention from that to the Olympics. It's good for, in some ways, it's good for the U.S. Olympic Committee and our sports teams, but in other ways, it's also good for diplomacy with Russia, and it shows him being strong in foreign affairs, standing up to Putin, and that's something that he needs to do, quite frankly.
It's always good to get your insight on Capitol Insider. Colonel Cedric Leighton, president of Cedric Leighton Associates.
My pleasure, Morris.
Thank you.
You bet. My pleasure.